so hopelessly dependent, escaping the scariest prison. It's hard to understand that you are brainwashed and conditioned when you have grown up your entire life being brainwashed and conditioned. Brandon Gentili here. This is an incredibly important video today. I don't know how else to say it, because this is what breaks people free from the shackles of their mind. Bob Proctor always says that people are mainly, almost always, a product of their environment, not their genetic makeup. So you could put me, who grew up in America, you could put me in China, and I would then speak Chinese. I would be a product of my environment. I might look like my parents here, but still, my physical and mental being would be changing over time as I lived in a different area. And that's true of anyone in life. So this is why this is so important. This is the digital panopticon we were moving into, the panopticon, which was the prison that was set up with the watchtower in the middle and everything evenly distributed, all of the inmates around, so that way at any given time they would think they're being watched, but they knew they weren't always being watched, but they never knew exactly when they were being watched. And it's a prison that they constructed in their own mind. And this is the prison that we have constructed in our own minds and done to ourselves. And then we live our life through these stories that we tell ourselves, and we tell ourselves why we can't do something, or why something can't be done, or why I have to shut down my business, or why I have to get something injected into my body even if I don't want to, or whatever it might be. Why are we telling these stories to ourselves when we are the ones that are being worked for by the government? We are the ones that the government's working for. We don't work for them. As the Declaration of Independence stated very clearly, the government works at the consent of the people. That's it. There's no if, and, but, wait, what? No. That's it. Done. And that's why we have so many problems. This is everything I have studied and talked about for 20 years is coming to fruition. The lack of freedom and liberty, and the people slowly losing that, which ultimately means when your freedom and liberties are lost, you have nothing, you own nothing, you're not going to be happy, you have no wealth, you have absolutely zero. Your self-esteem is through the floor. The cart before the horse. Is the self-esteem gone, the money's broken, God's gone, so that way the whole society crumbles? Or is it the other way around? Probably a bit of both. If you ever watched the movie Matrix, this is one of my favorite lines in the movie, and it is a movie that actually is foretelling what's going on. It happened to come out right when the fourth turning was coming out by Neil Howe, I believe his name is, who wrote the fourth turning. It's just so incredibly important to understand where we're coming from. Morpheus, here, let's roll. The Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Business people, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still part of that system. And that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inured, so hopelessly dependent on the system that they will fight to protect it. Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress? I was. Look again. Freeze it. This isn't the Matrix? No. It's another training program designed to teach you one thing. If you are not one of us, you are one of them. What are they? Sentient programs. They can move in and out of any software, still hardwired to their system. That means that anyone we haven't unplugged is potentially an agent. Inside the Matrix, they are everyone and they are no one. We are survived by hiding from them, by running from them. But they are the gatekeepers. They are guarding all the doors. They are holding all the keys, which means that sooner or later someone is going to have to fight them. Someone? I won't lie to you, Neo. Every single man or woman who has stood their ground, everyone who has fought an agent has died. But where they have failed, you will succeed. Why? I've seen an agent punch through a concrete wall. Men have emptied entire clips at them and hit nothing but air. Yet their strength and their speed are still based in a world that is built on rules. Because of that, they will never be as strong or as fast as you can be. What are you trying to tell me? That I can dodge bullets? No, Neo. I'm trying to tell you that when you are ready, you won't have to. Wow. Gives me chills. If you want to see the Bitcoin version of this, someone who literally did that whole 2-minute, 40-second clip to Bitcoin and reworked the words, half the words or a quarter of the words, to fit in the Bitcoin moniker, the Bitcoin memes, and what's going on in today's world, you have to check this out. Absolutely incredible video that Bitcoin Audible did. It's so phenomenal, and it explains exactly what is going on and how Bitcoin fixes this. Exit fiat, enter Bitcoin. Once you start to come into Bitcoin, everything starts healing in your life. Your wealth starts going up over time. You aren't losing anything because it's the only finite asset in the world, unlike as well as your time. The only two finite assets, which time is money and money is time. Therefore, it's very obvious now that Bitcoin is time and time is Bitcoin. That's it. The only two finite assets in the world. You can't say that about anything else. So once you start going down these rabbit holes, you start seeing the complexity of it, but also the simplicity of it, and all of the idiosyncrasies, all the things that are exactly the same. Time is Bitcoin, Bitcoin is time, money is time, time is Bitcoin and money. It's the exact same thing, and that's all it is. And we've lived this world of inflation and fiat currencies for decades and decades. In inflation since 1913, there's not anyone alive that has lived anything but an inflationary period where the central banks are running everything and destroying your wealth, destroying your time, because that's all time is, or it's all wealth is your time, and money is a container for your time and energy. They are stealing that by printing, by taxing you, and then by printing currency, by debasing it and causing inflation, which is indirectly your taxes. You get through shrinkflation, your same dollar buys less, and the bag of chips or your eggs or loaf of bread cost 2 times, 3 times, 10 times as much. That will continue to happen. This is why Weimar Germany, they had $1 trillion for a loaf of bread. This is why Venezuela, it was $1 trillion bolivar just in the last couple of years to buy a loaf of bread. Zimbabwe, 10 years ago, $1 trillion to buy a loaf of bread. Argentina's going through it. Sri Lanka just collapsed. The UK is now collapsing. This is why I'm so passionate about this. This is why. Because I don't want people making decisions based off of money. I don't want people staying in jobs they hate because they're forced to get a VAX when they don't want to, but they feel trapped because they're hooked on the paycheck. Money is freedom. Wealth is freedom. Your time and energy is freedom and what you do with it. There's only one way to save that long term over 5, 10, 20, 50 year, 100,000, 1,000-year time spans, and that's Bitcoin. Gold and silver was the best thing we had, but it still was not finite, and you couldn't move it through space. You could move it over time, but you couldn't do it through space. You couldn't just zip an ounce of gold from here to Singapore. Couldn't do it. Now you can do it with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, that can be done. It's finite, truly finite. It's immutable, uncensorable, unconfiscatable, permissionless, trustless. No one can tell you what to do or when to do it or who to do it with. Bitcoin's for your enemies. Bitcoin's for hope. Bitcoin's for your friends. Bitcoin's for all. Bitcoin's for the homeless man on the side of the road with an internet connection and a phone. Bitcoin's for the homeless man in San Francisco. Bitcoin's for the couple in Nigeria. Bitcoin's for the couple in Singapore. Bitcoin's for the couple in Australia, locked into their homes, welded into their homes. Bitcoin's for the couple, the people in the UK where their currency is failing. Bitcoin is for the people in Sri Lanka. Currency is failing. The country failed because of ESG, because of climate motives, all espoused by the World Economic Forum, the Bank of International Settlements, the World Bank, the United Nations, you name it, the alphabet soup of agencies who know nothing. They're either evil, like George Gammon just said recently, they're either evil or they're stupid, or both. So all 3 options aren't great. Not great, Bob. So what are we doing here at the end of the day? What is the answer? Central bank digital currencies with all these clueless clowns are going to rule over you, your overlord, switching you on and off like a switch. Well, we didn't like what you said. PayPal, what they just did, that's only things to come, people. That's only things to come. We have a blog and videos way back here, months and months back about CBCs. That is the root of all evil. You want to talk about money being the root of all evil? That is pure evil. Them censoring everything you do. And they made a mistake that wasn't supposed to be in the user agreement. What are you talking about? It just happened to be $2,500. You're going to dox people for misinformation? Of course it was. That was just putting out trial balloons. That was the government telling them, hey, put out some trial balloons. Let's see how this works. Not good. Not good, Bob. You saw the people revolt. More and more people going to Bitcoin now. And again, retail can go into Bitcoin. That'll help a little bit. But the bigger money that's coming in, the sovereigns, the BlackRocks, the countries that are coming in, that's going to push Bitcoin's price up in the fiat terms massively. Remember, Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. That doesn't change. And that's what the standard will be in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. It'll be the coolest thing. You'll be the coolest person in the world because you'll be the one that got into Bitcoin, that actually stored your wealth properly in a vehicle that could not be debased, couldn't be taken from you indirectly or directly. Everything else can be taken from you. Insurances, life insurance, stocks, 401ks, pensions, all of it can be taken from you. Boom. One call from the big guy to whoever's running your insurance company, whoever's running your stock brokerage account, whoever's running your Chase bank account. One called Jamie Dimon. Yeah, shut down their Chase account. Boom, done. Can't happen with Bitcoin. It's the only asset in the world that cannot be confiscated unless you give it to somebody, unless you give them the keys out of your head. Because if you take someone out and go to war with them, I can take them out and then go steal their gold and silver. I can go rob their vault. But I can't do that with Bitcoin. Again, it incentivizes peace. If I go take you out, now that the Bitcoin just got lost. The seed phrase is in my head. Or it's on a piece of paper. You're not going to find it. You know, it's in a cold storage wallet. You're not going to be able to get into it. So Bitcoin incentivizes peace. It takes energy and turns it into monetary value. It's the proof of work. You can't just go print it out of nowhere. You actually have to put in the work and spend the electricity, spend the energy to uphold the system instead of stealing it and siphoning it away from other people like fiat currency is. They can just type it into a machine, you know, boom, 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 right off the currency printing press, and then boom, they can just go spend it, and they take a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of every single dollar in existence and steal it from all of us. That cannot happen with Bitcoin. And I will keep beating this drum for years, every day, because this is the way to freedom, prosperity, and wealth for all people. I'm fortunate, I'm blessed. I've been studying this game for 10, 12 years since the last crash. Been in business, been an investor, done a lot of cool things. But what does it matter? If I have financial freedom and no one else does, I'm not where I want to be yet in fiat terms. And that's a process. That's a game that's still being played out. I know the process, though. I know the process, and it is playing out. But what does it matter at the end of the day if I'm financially free, but everyone else around me, the world's burning? My friends, my family are gone. Everyone's gone because they've been destroyed by the system, by these clowns, by the fiat overlords. What does it matter? If the world's burning around us, my kids can't go to school because everything's burning around me, what does it matter? So for me, the mission has become different. For me, the mission has become Bitcoin because I know Bitcoin fixes this. It fixes these problems. It fixes the fiat promises, as we see here on the woman in the red dress. It fixes all the garbage that we have been told, all the lies we've been told, all the inflation, all the stupid malinvestment. Straight up, that's what it is. All the woke ESG garbage, gone. Absolutely gone. Because you need, in a fiat world, you can get away with stupid things because you can just print more currency to paper over and to gloss over your mistakes. Up until a point. And that point is coming. And now it's unraveling. Bitcoin, that cannot be done. You can only do with what you've been given. How can a government give something they don't have? Why are they allowed to have the monetary system run and operate in a way that someone else then has to pay it off? Who would allow someone to counterfeit currency and then let someone else pay that off? No man, no woman should have that power. Absolute insanity. I guess my pedestal. Please watch this video. 2 minutes and 40 seconds you will not regret. And this is the system we're going into. 20 years ago. We have talked about this process for a while now. The Matrix movies were developed decades ago. George Orwell, Aldous Huxley, Ayn Rand wrote books about society and the average person marching aimlessly toward the abyss over this past century. Consistently, history has shown us that humans have a hard time learning the lessons of the past. Namely, understanding the nature and dangers of government, how large and onerous they can become by stealing the freedoms and wealth of the people through inflation and destroying the currency. It's the number one way. And that leads to destruction of freedoms and changing of the constitutions, everything, you name it. That's what allows all this. Again, Bitcoin does not allow that. It's finite. It can't be changed. It's auditable. Everyone can see it. It's an open ledger. Everyone can work on it. There's no opaqueness. This is precisely why the Founding Fathers created the documents they did that made America the land of the free and the home of the brave. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the Declaration. Alphabet soup agencies. If the last 2 years weren't the glowing example of global entities going awry, then I don't know what is. I don't know how trust of them is at zero. Get a mask, don't get one. No, get one again. No, don't get one. Get one. In the people that say science changes, I mean, boy, I've got some oceanfront property in Nebraska to sell you because you'll just believe anything at this point. How many times do you have to be lied to in order for you to finally change your mind? What has to happen at this point for you to finally wake up? I'm dead serious. This is asinine. When we outsource our thinking and all bad consequences to our overlords, we then atrophy our discernment muscle. We become fragile. Life becomes harder to operate in and make sound decisions if we are using broken models, broken frameworks, or thinking that we can just shill off our responsibility and accountability on someone else. We lose that ability to become anti-fragile. We lose that ability to discern what is right and wrong. We lose that ability to discern What's a good investment? What's a bad investment? What's a good investment of my time? What's a bad investment of my time? It's not our fault, though. We've been conditioned to think this way, like we said in the beginning. We've had schools, politicians, parents, academia, media, and the censorship, indirectly and directly, from everywhere, telling us what and who to be. For our safety and for our security, of course, though. The unproductive class is incentivized to not have people learn the real game and spoil their party and their monopoly on money. They don't want more competition. They've got it so good. This gravy train is unbelievable. The Hamptons are filled with people who don't deserve an iota of what they have, because they have been rent-seeking and destroying the financial system for decades and living off of everyone else. They produce no value in society. And again, I'm the biggest capitalist there is. I see that's the beauty of Bitcoin, is you sound like a centralist at some points, a communist, and you sound like a true capitalist at some points. And that's the beauty. Bitcoin's for all people. It's for progressives. It's for communists. It's for capitalists. It's for free market people. It's for the Chicago school, the Austrian school. It's for Democrats, Republicans, black, white, poor, rich. Doesn't matter. It's a fair system. It's an equitable system. It's an equal playing field, a level playing field. Not equal outcomes, equal playing field. We don't have to be cogs in the system anymore. Using our life force and our life force being sucked out of us on the hamster wheel, the rat race of life, just exerting energy to work for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, a year just to pay taxes to these pieces of garbage. That's done. Breaking free. We can break free from that system where they printed currency and stole our wealth through taxes and inflation. It is opting out and buying the hardest asset known to man, Bitcoin. Bitcoin is hope. Bitcoin is responsibility. Bitcoin is accountability. And Bitcoin is the alignment of incentivizing humans by lowering costs and raising the living standards of every human on earth. Fix the money and reattach it to soundness and properties of this earth. Return money to value and nature's law, and the systems all start to naturally heal over time. Separation of money and state. It is time. Separation of church and state came a few hundred years ago in one of the last cycles of decentralization. Now we're in the next 250-year decentralization cycle, as Mark Moss talks about a lot. Separation of money and state is here and now. Can anyone answer why this power to counterfeit or print currency and force another person to pay it off exists? Stay strong. Appreciate you. If you've got anything on this, please let me know. Please put a comment in here, what you liked, what you didn't like, how we can grow, how we can get better, how we can serve you more. Thank you for your time and energy. As we said, time, Bitcoin, they're the most expensive things we have because we can't get any more of it. You can buy more Bitcoin, I guess, at least right now, while it's still somewhat cheap. So do it while you can. Can't buy more time, though. The only way you could theoretically do it is if you had more real money. Real Bitcoin is how you exchange time and money. So we appreciate you spending it with us here. Please, like I said, go back and watch some of our CBDC videos we have done. It's incredibly apparent what's going on and how they're going to try to divide everyone more and steal your wealth and steal your freedom and steal your life, quite honestly, and be a cog in the system, because you're going to own nothing and be happy. You'll just be the hamster on the hamster wheel, providing electricity and power for the system. Go to work, little one. Go to work. Pay taxes to us. Run the system for us. We're going to live in the Hamptons. We're going to live our private jets flying to Davos. And you just live your life, and we're going to do everything for you, because you're sedated. You have low self-esteem. You don't work out. You're a POS, really. And I'm sorry. This is reality. And when we don't have a high self-esteem of ourselves, we're not working out, we're not eating right, we're not doing, I've been through these phases in my life. That's why I can talk this way. When I'm POS, when I haven't done all these things, I don't have a high confidence level. I'm not doing what I know I need to do. And I've had times that dipped in my life. I played professional hockey. I got there for a reason, because I did certain things, worked on certain frameworks, certain models, and it got me to the highest levels of what I was trying to do in business, in hockey, and now our next endeavors, which is Bitcoin adoption for all people, which will give fairness to everyone across the world and raise the standard of living for everyone across the world. It's a big mission, but we will get it done. Appreciate you. We'll see you on the next one.